What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Conspiracy or Just a Coincidence. I am Jack Allen. Go follow me at Kojak Podcast if you are not following me already. And that's like all my socials, Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. And then if you want to financially support the show, I've got a Venmo and a Patreon. So thanks to all my supporters already. And let's just make sure. Let me see. I think this is the email that we're live. So all right. So I think we're all set. I think we're all ready to rock. So yeah. So if you want to support the show, all those things, and if you can leave a review, it means so much to me when you guys leave the reviews. Except I got like a real weird one the other day that made zero. I have no idea what the comment said. It was, or the review said. It was so weird. So leave a review if you're normal, or maybe you're not like mentally ill. I would love a review from you. If you are not one of those things, you don't need to leave me a review. I have no idea what the last review said. Also, that's all the links. Also, a guy, I tweeted about it. He's been on the show, Chris Graves. If you guys haven't, he did a few shows with me. Very smart guy. He's always sending me links, and he's a super nice guy. He's stuck in California right now. He's from Massachusetts, and I told him that. So I posted his links. If you have anything to donate to help him get back home, he's just in a tough time. So Chris, if you're listening, we love you. I hope you got my donation or whatever. But if you can, and maybe you're stuck, you say I could support Jack or Chris, send it to Chris. He's such a good guy, and it's such a crazy time, dude. The world shouldn't be the way it is, and we all are just trying to find our way. And I blame it all on usury and central banking. The world would be a far different place if the central banks did not exist. But now we're getting off topic. All right. So this is our final installment of Secret Society and Subversive Movements. 2 of my individual shows in 1 week. This is like a record, dude. You should have seen how quick I was taking these notes. But one of my favorite books I've read, and I probably say that after most of the book shows I do, but I learned so much. And for one last time, if you haven't Nesta, Helen Webster, go check out the book, Secret Society and Subversive Movements. I highly recommend it. I recommend it over, she has another one on the French Revolution. This one is after the French Revolution, and she references how she thinks she made a few mistakes for who was behind the French Revolution. But real quick recap, we've talked about the beginnings of secret societies, how they started, how they were created, what they believe, and basically how they've been in every single religion. This is not a one religion conspiracy. This is not a one group conspiracy. This is everywhere. And we're actually going to talk a lot about Christianity, but we talked about the Templars. We talked about the Ismailis and these other Muslim secret societies. And so they are everywhere. This weird, evil Gnostic thinking, it goes back before the Abrahamic religions even began. The Canaanites, all these groups, they weren't before Abrahamic religions, but the Essenes, they're one. So this secret society, subversion, manipulation has been going on since the beginning of time. Not that should be shocking to any of us, and that's a very fun conspiracy, the bloodlines and all that stuff like that. I don't get into that in these shows really, but there could be something there, absolutely. So last episode was one of my favorites. We talked a lot about the Freemasons and Rosicrucians, and really the point that came out was Freemasonry is this umbrella. Okay, there is Freemasonry when it officially started in 1717. It wasn't made to have free thinking fraternity. It was made by the Rosicrucians, most likely, to provide cover. They got Freemasonry passed. They filled it with regular folks, and this Scottish Rite Freemasonry, with all these other degrees past the first 3, is where you get into the real evil stuff. And that's what we basically talked about. The Rosicrucians, they are much stronger than I've ever been led to believe. And so this episode, we're going to continue along here of this theory, or this book. And oh my gosh, I already lost my spot of my notes here where we're at. Holy crap. Where are we at? Okay, got it. So yeah. So this episode we didn't get to German Templarism, French Illuminism, the Illuminati, and a lot of amazing stuff. So we'll get right into it. And I'm trying to think if there's any other like housekeeping things or anything like that. Steven, what's up, dude? Thanks for being the first comment, man. I appreciate it. The squad's a little late, but you know, I'm sure they'll trickle in slowly but surely. But yeah, okay. I don't know. I was trying to think of anything else to fill some time before more people show, but I guess we'll just get right into it. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, did anybody see I'm Pennsylvania, but John Fetterman and Mehmet Oz or whatever his name is, their debate. Oh my gosh, guys. If you haven't, go check out the clips. But Fetterman, honestly, his wife should probably be imprisoned for forcing her husband to do this. This man, he can't speak. He can't even think. I think it's in 1984. What's up, gentleman skeptic? And everybody, I mean, I love Skeptic. He says so much good stuff. Skeptic finally let me know who he was on Twitter. And I told my wife because Skeptic's always nice enough when she pops in to say hello to her. And so, and I didn't know who, I had no idea. So Skeptic, I'm so happy that you finally let me know. I was shocked, dude, shocked. But, yeah. Okay. So that's all we talked about. So, and last thing before we really get into it. So this book, I highly recommend reading it. Her theories or her conclusions are different conclusions that I have ever heard. And wait till we get to the Illuminati. I'm going to show to you through Adam Weishaupt's, his letters that he wrote to all of his members, how the Illuminati is not what you think it is. It's just mind blowing, dude. I think we take it as it was so painful. Like Skeptic, when it's so, I'm like, I probably have like a little bit of autism, but like I watch TV shows on Netflix and my wife gets mad at me because I'll hit skip. If it's awkward, skip. If it gets too intense, skip. And I've watched shows like on that 2 or 1.5 speed or whatever, and I still skip. So yeah, it was so cringe. And oh yeah. So, but she talks about how the Templars, and that changed my whole viewpoint on how they were not this unfairly went after group. They were actually doing horrible things. Rest in peace, South Philly Wawa. What's up, Brian, dude? Thanks for coming again, dude. So the Templars we talked about how Freemasonry, it's not the evil vehicle. It is just a cover. It's a cover for what the real evil people do, which are these Kabbalistic, well, some of them. And that's what let's just get into it. Forget it. So we mentioned a lot last episode where we started alluding to Germany and France. A lot of this stuff took hold in Germany and France, and that is where the power came around the 1700s. That was prior to that. Italy probably was more, Austria, all these places, but Germany and France, a lot of this secret society stuff comes from there, like Bavarian Illuminati, the Rothschilds, Bavarian Germany. Barbara, what's up? What's going on? Thank you for coming so much. It's just so nice. And let's pull up Frederick the Great, because he is a very important character. Frederick the Great, I think it's number 2. Yeah. King of Prussia. And again, my history knowledge, I learned just as quickly as you guys, or I'm sure some of you know more history than I do. I have to learn more about Prussia. But Frederick the Great, let me just pull up some photos of good old Freddie here, who we're going to call him Freddie, because we're going to find out he is a total 4-letter word of any choice you would like to show. We are going to mock him incessantly for how evil of a person he is. And I'm a fan of the monarchies. I think they're unfairly, but look at this guy. I mean, look at if this was a soy boy before soy boys existed, for people listening, he looks like Santa Claus. He looks like a whack ass Santa Claus. Here he is though, just a dork, huge dork. I mean, if I'm paying at the time, thousands, 10 years of a regular person's salary for this painting, I would tell them, please don't paint me with huge bug eyes. But apparently to Freddie, he thought he looked good there. Yeah, so let's get into this idiot, this gosh darn idiot real quick. So 1738, Frederick the Great, he's the crown prince of Prussia. And he'd been chilling with another classic character, Voltaire. Voltaire was also a propagandist. He was an anti-Christian. And that's the basic of knowledge of Voltaire that I know. I believe it was either Thomas Paine or Voltaire. One of them, he wrote propaganda for the French Revolution. I can't remember who it was, if it was him or the other, but both though, not, or maybe Thomas Paine was. I might be getting Freddie the Great liked the fellows, but was a kick-ass general, turned Prussia into a military juggernaut. Interesting, skeptic, which makes sense that he was such a he turning Prussia into that, because I'm gonna spoil it. We gotta go. So thanks, skeptic, because I didn't know that. So Voltaire seeing the huge, so you have, just like skeptic just said, that you have this badass general, a guy who is making waves for Prussia, just crushing the enemies. And he writes a letter to Voltaire or somebody else very powerful in the Freemasonic community. And he says, hey, you guys are doing some interesting stuff. I was wondering if I could join your club. You going to let me in? And so Voltaire, seeing the huge opportunity this is to have a monarch on your side, said, all right, yeah, let's initiate you. Did they bring him to the temple? Did they bring him to the lodge to hang out with all the other Freemasons? No. They initiated him in a hotel, as all great things happen in hotels. And he summoned the Grand Mason from Hamburg at the Grand Lodge in Hamburg to also come there to initiate Frederick the Great. Rosalind, how are you? Thank you for coming. So nice. So nice. You guys put a smile on my face. You know, I had a good day, but some days it's nice to see you. It's just so nice to see you guys. So anyway, Frederick, he gets crowned in 1740. So this was 2 years before he was the actual king. But so he got admitted into Freemasonry 1738, becomes king in 1740, and he presides over a lodge at some place in Prussia. He received his two brothers, the Duke Frederick and his brother-in-law. They also joined his Freemasonic club. And the same year, 1740, Voltaire paid his first visit to Frederick the Great in Prussia. Supposedly, Voltaire, though, he wasn't a Freemason until 1778. That makes sense. That whole story totally makes sense then, right? So Voltaire, who's not a Mason, Frederick the Great writes to a non-Mason about Masonry, right? Okay, so no, he waited 40 years to do it when he was like 8,000 years old. Regardless, let's continue this story. So Voltaire, he travels to Prussia, Germany, and France, and the first additional degrees were added. So what that horribly just explained note meant that I wrote incorrectly. Voltaire, the moment he went in 1740 to Prussia and to France, new degrees were added to Freemasonry. New, higher, advanced, more occult, more whatever, as you can use your imagination, degrees were added. Totally by coincidence, I am sure. Totally. So as Voltaire, though, he arrives in Germany from France, a German, von Marschall, arrives in Paris with instructions to revive the Order of Templarism. Now, this is important. We kind of talked about this last episode. Templars most likely became the Rosicrucians. Rosicrucians then used Freemasonry and propped it up to hide their activities. And these higher degrees of Scottish Rite Freemasonry are Rosicrucian steps, basically. So he's trying to revive this order of Templarism, and followed 2 years later by another German, Baron von Hunt. And von Hunt, he was received into the Order of the Temple, which is the Templars, by an unknown Knight of the Red Plume. And the Knight of the Red Plume reminds me a lot of like that quasi-quotal god in the Mayan or the Incans because he's a plumed serpent. I don't know. Maybe it's just the same word, but I just thought about that and thought it was interesting. And then so he distinguished as brother to the Prince Charles, who he thought was the grand, which was all he made up lies that other kings were also joining Freemasonry. And Von Hunt later admitted that Prince Edward was not in the group. So he was saying, yo, you guys better join my group. Prince Edward's a member. I mean, don't even be part of it. And that was all a lie. But rather what he was doing was he kind of alluded that he was being directed by a hidden center of unknown superiors whose identities he was not bound to reveal. And we're going to get into this more and more again, especially with Adam Weishaupt. But all these names that we know, and this isn't too far-fetched for us to believe, but the names we know aren't the real leaders. These are the people that are placed there to take the heat, to take the questions, when the real masters are far that you don't even know their real names. So, and we're going to they have nicknames that we may have heard, not real names. But regardless, Von Hunt tries to enroll Prince Edward in this new German order by assuring him that he could raise support for the Stuart cause under the cover of reorganizing the Templar Order. And he told the prince he had the secrets, the true secrets, passed down from the knights of the 14th century. So again, I immediately, because of my lack of knowledge, I assumed immediately Freemasonry, secret societies, they all hate the monarchies, which is true. But they work with these monarchies, especially in the beginning, to take out other monarchies because they say, don't you want to knock out the king of France? Well, let's knock him out by doing this. And so this is how their goal, and maybe the people that were going to talk to the kings and princes and stuff like that, maybe they didn't know that was the plan, but that was the plan because these unknown superiors, they're holding this, that they're the ones with the real knowledge, you know? And he said all accusations from the Pope were false charges, and we destroyed that theory. Yes, everyone needs useful idiots. Exactly. Everyone needs useful idiots. And so he said all those charges about the Pope and us sodomizing each other and worshiping a Baphomet head, lies. Yeah, sure. Every Knight Templar all over Europe not all of them were tortured. Sure, they had the same confessions, but coincidence. That is it. Just a coincidence. Nothing more than that. They don't do bad things. Just hilarious, right? Just hilarious. So in 1751, though, Von Hunt officially founded his new Templar order, and he called this group the name Strict Observance. Strict Observant was a German association of aristocratic and intellectual men imitating the orders of the past and calling everyone knightly titles. So late. They're LARPing. They're LARPing as crusaders when they're the intellectual and aristocrats of the day. And I found that fascinating as well, that even in the 1700s, the Enlightenment and all this stuff like that, the intellectuals, quote unquote, were the people that were trying to challenge the system that had built Europe for hundreds of years. And so what do we see today? Who's the people trying to destroy what built a successful, the greatest superpower the world has ever known? Intellectuals and the elite. So what this means to me is the intellectuals aren't so intellectual. They're very easily manipulated and brainwashed, probably because they're dorks and they've been made fun of their whole lives. So it's easier to go with the flow, go with what the loudest group is saying. But I just found it funny that they named everyone like Sir Knight of the Round Table, you're just a dude playing dress up in a Knights Templar order that you guys just literally made up. And they had the names of their leaders, who were simply figureheads. Again, the real leaders, known as unknown superiors in the Strict Observance group, remained in the background. Not surprising, but yet again, we see this example happen. And this was foreshadowed with the Rosicrucians in the 17th century, so the 1600s. There was much letters or whatever that told that the leaders were taking orders or ideas or whatever, how to lead this group. They were called the Invisibles. And so, but now, instead of an obscure group, unknown to many, a powerful organization appeared in the light of day by men from behind the scenes. So by 1756, it appeared that they had come out of nowhere. Men saying that they'd been sent by unknown superiors armed with powers to reform Freemasonry and reestablish it in its ancient purity. So again, goes to support my idea, or what I talked about last episode, that Freemasonry, the original organization, was literally no more than a Christian fraternity of men that just wanted to be a part of something bigger than themselves. So we saw the Rosicrucians infiltrate, and now the strict observance, which is supposedly the Knights Templar revival in Germany, they're doing the same thing. And so what do? They lure Freemasons, these let's say you and me, we're in Freemason, we're in a lodge. We don't know anything about the occult. We don't know anything. We did have to do these weird ceremonies, but that was just a hazing process. You can justify that maybe in some way, shape, or form. But then you have these people come in who are maybe high-ranking Freemasons, which most of the, like Voltaire and these type of people who were secretly trying to recruit the top dogs out of Freemasonry. So they'd stay Freemason, but they'd also be a part of strict observance or the Illuminati. And yeah, so it's just, again, and this sounds so simple, but I've never heard it explained like that. And this just really helped me comprehend what's kind of going on with these people. So they go to somebody and say, hey, maybe you're a third level Blue Lodge Freemason member. You bored with, dude, they're lying to you. I got the real truth. You want to come on, come with me. We got a bunch of guys just like us. And so that's it. They would lure, they're lying to you. You can imagine how they would convince them. And even the Prince of Hesse, manuscripts he had talks about the top dog. And this is the Prince of Hesse. He only knows the top dog of the strict observance, the Knight Templar order, by a possible name. But he did know he was a Kabbalist. So what is this? Why is this important? The Prince of Hesse was how the Rothschild made their power. He was it was a province, whatever, in Prussia, Germany, and he had all these there's his whole town, city, whatever, was a fighting town. They created Hessian soldiers, and again, this was how the Rothschilds made their money. They were the accountant of the Prince of Hesse. They managed his money. He sold them to King George in Britain to fight the Americans, and he would get paid double if they died. And Prince Hesse eventually probably got swindled by the Rothschilds as well. And because at that time, they were only the 8th richest out of like the 10 top rich families in Bavaria and Germany, like their Jewish ghetto or whatever. But so this guy's a powerful guy. He was one of the richest men in the world, if not probably richer than Tsar Nicholas, even the czars, maybe at this point. But the Prince of Hesse was literally that rich, guys. And he didn't even know whose orders they were getting from, and he listened to them. So, but the point of all of this is that the flood of Templarism that was about to happen corresponds precisely with the decline of the Jacobites and the rise of German influence. So what does this mean? This means that as a group, a revolutionary group, a group that is changing the current power structures, society structures, as they're getting maybe called out on all their bullshit, or maybe everyone's like, oh my God, you guys are actually behind all evil stuff. They morph into a new group. And that's not, we've talked about that ad nauseum. So it would make more sense that the authors of these upper degrees of Scottish Rite were not Masons, they weren't Jacobites, but rather they were German Templars. And the author was Frederick the Great, or one of these powerful people that was helping rise this Germanic Templar group again. So thus, what this means, Voltaire, Frederick the Great, they helped revive the Templar belief system, this Gnostic, this sick, twisted, Canaanite-like religion, this Gnostic religion, and they helped revive it by using Freemasonry as their recruiting ground. In 1786, the Rite of Perfection was reorganized and rechristened as the Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite. again, using Scottish. Why do they call it Scottish Rite? Right. And I think the story most people would say is, why is it called Scottish Rite Freemasonry? Oh, because the Templars went to Scotland to help fight the battle, hence Scottish Rite Freemasonry. Wrong. Scottish Rite Freemasonry is a misnomer. They called it that to cover up the actual rites that are being added, which is Germanic rites. So it's called Scottish Rite Freemasonry. Scotland has literally nothing to do with it. It is Germanic. It is Prussian. That is where these extra degrees have got inserted into Freemasonry. Frederick, who conducted operations and new constitution for his Freemasonic Lodge, arranged the degrees. He was the guy who raised the Scottish Rite Freemasonry to 33 degrees. I mean, this guy was so powerful and bad. He's the one who did it. He helped bring it up to number 33. The 30th degree, the Knight of Kadash. What happens when you get to the 30th degree? Well, you wear a Teutonic cross. Yes, it's Freemasonry. Why are they wearing Teutonic crosses? Oh, because it's they're really Rosicrucian. This is really Templarism again, just being hidden under Freemasonry. Again, Frederick the Great added this 30 degree. He helped create them, helped author them. So you can see why he chose the Templar cross. The throne is surmounted by a double-headed eagle of Prussia, and the president is called Thrice Prussian Grand Master, representing Frederick himself. So kind of narcissistic right to add, right? You're making, like, basically you're using your flag, you're using your throne, you're having to call me the king. Yeah. So, and then the 33rd degree of Sovereign Grand Inspector General, the jewel is again the double-headed eagle. This is again just to solidify that Frederick the Great, Templarism, that's who added these Scottish Rite Freemason things. And the 32nd degree was really a system, not a degree. Once at 32nd, it brought these upper level Masons under. So once you hit the 32nd degree, prior to that, your boss, your leader of your lodge, that's your guy that you listen to. But once you hit that 32nd degree, now you're out of that system. You are above every lodge. And it's who's your master now? Who is your Grand Master? It's Frederick the Great. So it really is. And again, I know I've said this, I'm sure you've thought this, but Freemasonry in these earlier degrees are harmless. They have nothing to do, most likely, with anything that we have come to believe what Freemasonry does. I just thought that. So then by 1786, though, French Masonry was totally Prussianized, and Frederick had become the idol of Masonry everywhere. Even Albert Pike, the sicko, orgy-having dude, killing chickens, drinking their blood, a Civil War general, which is, but a spy, of course, intelligence, and the occult go hand together. But even Albert Pike, this is this quote, no doubt Frederick came to the conclusion that great pretensions of Masonry in the blue degrees were imaginary and deceptive. He ridiculed the order and thought their ceremonies were child's play. What is a ceremony of first degree Freemasonry? Let's see. Is this childlike? I wonder if we can find it. I'm sure we could find the ritual, and I'm sure somebody knows. But doing any ritual and calling it a child's play, I can only imagine what his degrees were doing if that was child's play. Because I'm pretty sure they put you with like a dark room, a noose around your neck, crazy stuff, and begin the start of the swearing of keeping everything, keeping safe. Oh my God. Now this, it always takes me 30 minutes here, but 10, 15, 20 minutes to really get cooking with the good stuff. This is going to blow your mind. So take a deep breath, meditate, think on it, clear your head, and then listen to this. So encyclopedias. Kids these days probably don't even really know what encyclopedia is. Harmless, right? Well, our Wikipedia isn't harmless. Does it tell you us the truth, or does it tell you what the mainstream media wants us to believe? So encyclopedias. Well, in 1737, okay, there's at the Grand Lodge of Paris, they discuss something, the Masons here. They said, should we use our order to come together and write a universal dictionary of all liberal arts and sciences, but let's leave out theology and politics? So again, adding more evidence that Freemasonry is inherently itself not evil. It was corrupted. So they wanted to write this. They are thinking men of the time. They would, knowledge. They have a thirst for knowledge. So Encyclopedia Britannica, where do you guys think it was first written? Where do you think? Oh, of course it would be Scotland, because why wouldn't it be in Scotland? There, of course. So from 1768 to 1771, written by the quote unquote experts of their respective fields, aka probably undercover Rosicrucians in Freemasonry. Do you think they wrote topics honestly and unbiasedly? Well, Wikipedia does, so I'm sure they did too. Or were they there to propagate propaganda and have the final expert say in a book? So all in the same 20 years, we have Freemasonry being corrupted. We have propaganda machines being created, getting more occult and heavy Gnostic, reviving the sicko Gnostic Templarism. And then we have one of the most insane events in this 20-year span, the French Revolution. What do all of these relate to each other? All of them relate because this was exactly at the time when Freemasonry was corrupted. I mean, it was corrupted in 1717 when they created it. They knew they were creating an umbrella to hide things. But I just found that fascinating, that in a 20-year span, you had the demise of honest Freemasonry. You had encyclopedias being written that were the final say of experts. And then you, of course, had the French Revolution. And what ties all of these together? Frederick the Great, Templarism, and Rosicrucianism. I'm sure, yes. But Freemasons, they brag about their tactics about making everyone free from the monarchies. The encyclopedias betrayed not only the cause of the monarchy, but Masonry as well. Because remember how I said the idea started, no theology, no politics, just facts. That's what the large group of Masonry wants. Well, what do you think that the first encyclopedia focused on? Oh, that's weird. They focused on theosophy and politics. Well, that's so weird because Freemasonry's rules is that religion is an off-topic topic. So the Masons in 1737 had good intentions. They wanted to create an encyclopedia of knowledge to help people learn. And what happened? They got flipped, they got corrupted, and that all changed. So it's not too surprising that when we go to P in these first encyclopedias for Prussia, it mentions the virtues and talents of the illustrious Frederick the Great, or I don't think they named it by name, but the illustrious monarch who presided over the amazing country. Frederick did not know that he was signing his own family's death warrant, as all of these people do. They're so narcissistic and stupid that they think that these equally as powerful people who aren't a monarch, they respect you and love you like the regular people do. No. And he thought he was going to be able to control this group. I imagine Frederick the Great. He probably never thought, the Freemasons and the Templars, they're not going to overpower me. They tell me I'm their leader. I'm the guy that's building the system. But of course, as always, this changed. He thought he was able to control the hits of the group, increase power of Prussian supremacy, which is big. That was what he was hoping to do. How Skeptic brought up he was a great war general. Well, he thought by joining these new secret societies, he was going to be able to use that to increase Prussia's power. And he wasn't wrong. And he had a big rivalry with the French monarchy at the time. So he wanted to end France's power, increase Prussia's power. He was able to discredit Marie Antoinette and propagandize the people of France. French Illuminism. Have you guys ever heard of French Illuminism? I never heard of it before that. So again, what is it with these two areas of Germany and France? I don't know. I don't know. If anybody can, is that where these Canaanite Phoenicians, Venetians, is that where they settled? That would be my only guess, because I've talked about this, how the Rothschilds, the Schiffs, these families, they changed their names from earlier, but they came from Venice and all moved to Bavaria, Germany, or Frankfurt or Bavaria. I can't remember which, regardless, one or the two. So why? Is it there? It's not like the weather there is better than there's other places in Western Europe that are better than that. So why do they do that? It's just weird. So, but anyway, French Illuminism. While Frederick the Great, the Freemasons, the Encyclopedists, and others were working on undermining the church and monarchy in France, another cult that had arisen that used Freemasonry as its shroud. Yes, it is the basis. I thought they were looking for a patron. He probably thought they were looking for a patron. They were looking for a patsy. Bingo. Yeah, that's perfectly said. And he's talking about Frederick the Great. Frederick thought he was going to be they really wanted him as their leader. No, he was just their toy, their puppet to pull the strings with. So again, we're going to go into them right now. Freemasonry. It's this big group, lots of people. Well, other groups are going to, it's not just the Templars, it's not just the Rosicrucians. So let's get into French Illuminism. So we talked about a few episodes ago that Satanism spread like wildfire in the 1400s or 1300s in Europe. And this happened, it happened again, a revival of this right in this 1700, 1800 time period. And I talked about this a long show ago, but there is history of the occult in America. And there was this area called the Burned Over District. And it was like New York, all of like rural New York at the time, which was everything but New York City, right? And in this Burned Over District, this Blavatsky's involved, her second in command, I think like someone with an O, can't remember his name, but like a lot of like trying to channeling spirits, and happened again after World War II or World War I. So there's these weird revivals in history of a cult hitting the mainstream. So that happened in the 14th century, and it starts happening now totally by chance, I'm sure, totally by chance. But 1730, 1740, the Russian court itself, the Russian Tsar family was and all the monarchies, they were permeated with superstitions. They had magicians in the court. They had charlatans of every kind. Thank you, North. North gave me, I love your deep dive, Jackie boy. Not just the muscles, you go deep. Well explained. Thank you. North, amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Really, thank you. Yeah, so the upper class of Germany in the 18th century was exactly the same. There was an infatuation with the supernatural, along with finding the Philosopher's Stone, which would give people eternal life. And so occultism in France continued to grow as well, hiding where? In Masonry. In 1754, a Rosicrucian and a Mason, his name was Martins de Pasquale. Let's see if we can pull. I always like looking what they look like. De Pasquale. Oh, yeah. We got a photo of Pasquale. And this dude, all right, he looks much cooler than Freddie the Great here. But again, would you trust him with your children? I don't know. I don't think so. But that's him. Okay. And I always like to show. So this guy, Pasquale. So Pasquale, he's a French guy. He's obsessed with he in 1754, he founds a new order known as the French Illuminés. I should have practiced my French accent. I think I tried to do it last time. Je m'appelle Jacques. Je m'appelle. We start the French Illuminés. Oh, croissant. That's all I know. But Pasquale, so he's obsessed with Kabbalah, right? And though, quote unquote, a Christian, so again, guys, it is not one religion. It is all of them. They're everywhere. But as a Christian, he had lots of Kabbalistic manuscripts with him. And his group became the third greatest, strongest, most powerful Masonic power in France. And so he creates new rites, the rites of the Martinese. And it was divided into two classes: the fall of man and his final restoration. This theme is very prevalent in Masonry, loss, and recovery. And after first 3 Mason degrees came the Cohen degrees of Pasquale. That's what he called them, the Cohen, Cohen. Why? I have no idea. Maybe Kabbalah. I don't know, but he named them the Cohen degrees, and they were named the exact same thing: the apprentice Cohen, the fellow craft Cohen, the master Cohen, and then the grand architect. But all of these were concealed degrees that you wouldn't find out until you showed promise, and this would lead you up to the Rosy Croix degree. That was the top of Pasquale's French Illume, the Rosy Croix. And Pasquale, he set up lodges in Marseille, Toulouse, Bordeaux, then Paris, before he spread all over France. If they were looking for eternal life then, Skeld, what an awesome comment. Skeld says this. He says, if they were looking for eternal life, then why do people think they ever stopped? Damn, dude. Wait. We got something for that. Damn, dude, that was great. That was very insightful. And another second comment from Skeld says, Cohen is Kolain, or priest in Hebrew. Thank you. Okay. Very good. Then that makes a little bit more sense. So he grew all over France. Like I say, he was the third most powerful secret society. And in 1760, Don Pernetti founded another secret society, the SubvMvmnts, declaring he was a high-level Freemason in the doctrines of Swedenborg. And another Illuminist theosophy, modified version of Pernetti's rite in 1783 started the purified Swedenborgianist rite, the rite of Swedenborg. If you guys don't know who Swedenborg is, I'm going to do a piss poor job explaining it because I've read about him in my book, History of the Occult in America. But basically, Swedenborg, he was big into trying to astral project. He said he traveled all through the universe. He could hypnotize people, and he was just an occultist. I don't remember exactly where Swedenborg, he was occultist. He was a 1770. He died in 1772. So he was a nut job. He was the crystal girls, the white crystal girls of the era. That's a good way that we could describe him, and you can think of Swedenborg. So he's very, very, very just insane, pretty much, interacting with demons. Most likely, he would communicate with off-world entities, he claimed. Think Corey Good. If you know who Corey Good is, or David Wilcock, that's Swedenborg. So anyway, so we had Pasquale, he had the French Illuminés. We have another guy that starts right around the same time, Pernetti. They're the Illuminés of Divan. And the point being that underneath all of these groups, the name changes, the beliefs, is this perverted Kabbalah that we talked about. Kabbalah is in the Judaic religion, but there has been multiple Kabbalahs over the history of time. I would take a wild guess that the Kabbalah that's mainstream, that anybody can study, is not this perverted Kabbalah that talks about how Jesus is burning in pig fat, or whatever they say, how his Mary was a whore, and all those things like that. And so these beliefs, though, of the perverted Kabbalah, the barbaric superstitions, those were founded on ancient pagan cults and added esoteric knowledge from the modern day. So these new groups that pop up, they take things they like, but they're more evil than the Freemasonic group. They want the secrecy and the brotherhood of the Freemasonry, but they want really serious people that will do the crazy rituals that they want them to do. And the Rosy Croix degree was being the highest in the French Illuminati. The other one we just talked about, the Illuminés d'Avion, the Rosy Croix is the highest degree in both of those because, of course, why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't it be? And yeah, of course, I, just scroll past my, okay, there we go. Nope, no. All right. And then the right of perfection. So there's another right that they added again, the right of perfection. It shows how much Kabbalah inserted itself into these groups. In Judaism, there is this belief that God has a mysterious name that if you know it, you will get magic powers or be able to perform miracles. Yahweh is actually like an acronym of that secret name. Like it's Yahweh, it's the 4 letters. I try to it's very confusing for me. I think NY Patriot could better explain it because they talk about tetragrammaton. Maybe Skeptic or anybody in the chat knows tetragrammaton, Yahweh, the 4 letters. If anyone can elaborate for anybody else, and I can say it because that's again the actual occult stuff. Yes, Skell, YHVH. That is Yahweh, but it's like an acronym, or it's like that's just the word they use because it's been lost to time. God, yes, thank you, Skell. The tetragrammaton, and we're going to talk about that in 2 seconds. If you guys can, if Skeptic or you can elaborate like quick after I'm going to do mine right now, what it is, and it's better than mine, we'll read yours. So yeah, so the right of perfection, you get the magic powers. So the ineffable name was engraved on Moses' staff. That's what gave him according to the Kabbalah, to perform these miracles. Same with Jesus Christ. He knew the real name of God. It was under his finger or his wrist or whatever like that. And that's how he was able to perform his miracles, according to this perverted Kabbalistic story. And the superstition, this superstition was clearly a part of the Rosicrucian tradition. For the symbol, the tetragrammaton, the symbol is a triangle. Tetragrammaton symbol. Let's just see. So I'll show it for you guys. Okay, so here it is. This is good. I think this might be it. Let's see. Guys, my 2 geniuses in the chat, tell me, is this, because they said about a triangle, so is it that one? Or is it? Okay, so yeah, it's that. So guys, so for everybody listening, of course, it's the 5-pointed star. Nothing weird about that, right, guys? The 5-pointed star. That's not weird at all. No. That's not weird. But yeah, so that was used in Freemasonry, this symbol. It might even be this one too. This triangle with some Hebrew writing on it. But all these. Hey, Jeremy, what's up? I need you, Jeremy. What is the explain the tetragrammaton and why it's used it's for this. If you can elaborate at all, Jeremy, please do. I would love your help. Oh, hey, don't look at my notes, you guys. You'll steal my work. Okay. So yeah, so this superstition was part of the Rosicrucian tradition. That's why its triangle symbol would wind up in all the Masonic lodges. And these orders, they had these quote unquote true secrets, right? But the initiates could never ask anyone in the order, well, who did you get the secrets from? And, if someone tells me, listen, Jack, I'm going to tell you something. Jesus and Moses, they weren't super powerful. They actually just knew the name of God. And that's why they were able to do this. And if I said, well, how'd you find that out? Oh, we just know. We were told. You're not allowed to ask that question at all. So again, we see this concept, though, of concealed superiors, blind obedience to unknown people, whether the regular folk know it or not. They are listening to somebody that they've never met. All right, wait, let me just read what these guys just said. It's supposed to be the Hebrew phrase that I am, speaking creation into being. No, that is the Hebrew letters in the triangle, not the triangle itself. Thank you, Skeptic. Then there must be something with. Is it normally in the triangle? Is that why that symbol found its way into Freemasonry? Because that's what Nesta, this author believes. And then, so under the guidance of of occultism from all these various secret sects, occultism swept over France. Centers, literal huge buildings, centers, offices were built for the purpose of Kabbalah, magic, divination, alchemy, theosophy. So essentially, Hogwarts were jumping up all over France. That's how popular this stuff was. I mean, could you imagine today if someone opened up a real magic shop, besides for the girls that tweet we're the witches, we're the descendants of the witches you didn't burn. Besides them, who would go to that? So that is how huge this group was and how really widespread and interested people were in to learning about the occult. And the Masonic rites, they denigrated it into ceremonies for the evocation of spirits. Women were allowed to join some of these off, like how we just taught French Illuminatis, blah blah blah. They were able to join these groups. And what do you think the women were allowed to do there? What was their purpose? Because they wanted to study Kabbalah? No, that's not why they were there. They were there for orgy night, kind of like how ladies get in half price free at bars. That's why the women were allowed into these secret societies, and they would scream, faint, have seizures. They would let themselves be experimented on. And if you've seen the Da Vinci Code, the dad, he of Sophie or whatever her name is, who's the descendant of Mary Magdalene or whatever that story is, she sees her grandfather in a circle banging a woman with people chant. That's why they invited the women there. That it wasn't because they wanted to be equal footed and all that stuff. Skeptic says triangles are supposed to be sacred geometry and occultism. So maybe putting tetragrammatron into the triangle gives it more power. All right. I like that answer. We're rocking with it, Skeptic. We're rocking with that. And the Illuminis in time, the French Illuminis, like I said, became the third most powerful and rival order of France. In 1771, an amalgamation of all Masonic groups occurred. This is huge, huge, with a new lodge of Amos Reunis. So basically, all these Masonic groups, these offshoots, these branches, the real evil ones, they combined into this lodge, the Amos Reunis. And the founder of the lodge was a keeper of the royal treasury for Freemasonry, for the monarchy. He was a grand officer of the Grand Orient and a high initiate of France. And to unite all these different factions, he made his lodge a mixture of all. He organized these huge balls and big dances to bait like the rich, the aristocracy from joining. And then he would also make sure to bring probably poor, but young and attractive men and women to encourage people to drink, dance, and sing. Now, this is the 1700s. I'm going to take a shot in the dark that were they men and women or were they, little humans, but maybe a little bit of both. Maybe, here, Jeremy, I know we keep reading the chat. You guys have so much good knowledge. So I'm sorry for you guys. If people don't watch it live, there's so many amazing people in here. Jeremy says, the triangle has the letters of the tetragrammaton because the triangle of the art is where the spirit is evoked into, and the letters fortify the barrier, like a ghost trap, you could say. Amazing, Jeremy. Okay, nice. And Jeremy, guys, I always shout him out, but Jeremy, he's a great guy. Different. He calls himself different than what most of our listening people are, but he is a fascinating, brilliant, amazing guy. So go check out Jeremy. The triangle is fortified with the name of God and the 4-letter name. Love it. Amazing. All right, guys. So that's why the triangle of the tetragrammatron is in a triangle, the name of God, for it's like a ghost spell, according to Jeremy, and I value his opinion very much, very much. And thanks, Scott. I'm glad that you haven't heard about. I love doing new things that people haven't heard about. So little did the guests know that these big parties of the Amos Reunis Lodge, there was a committee above them. So this is supposed to be like the MLB of Freemasonry in France, the Amos Reunis. And they all think, ooh, I'm in this special club, dog. I am good. They had no idea that there's people above them. Then there's this thing called the Rite of Philanthese, 1773. High members of the Amos Reunis, they claim this rite came out of England, but really it came from German Freemasons, who were really the Rosicrucian and the Templars that were starting back up again. So not surprisingly, this is this cast the wide net. You try to pull real good people from Freemasonry into these even more secret groups that just behind Freemasonry, a club within a club. And in this time in France, occult lore, esoteric knowledge, it was like a drug, dude. Anybody who had info, anybody who came out and said, "Oh, I can speak to the ghost, I can control ghosts," they would be propped up, followed, get a following, quickly being able to co-opt the Freemason fraternity and turn it into the devil worshiping cult that it eventually turned into. The magicians, another group. Just like how philosophers were Freemasons, the magicians were members of occult secret societies that helped create, manipulate, and control the French Revolution. There was this one really insane guy, Schroepfer. He was a coffee shop owner. He turned his house into a lodge. He made up his own Rosy Croix degrees for the purpose of evoking spirits. So this guy, not technically he was a Freemason, but he was a member of his own Freemasonic group. And his big thing was evoking spirits. So he would invite people over that were not in the crew, and they would pay, and they would these meetings, quote unquote, would take place dead of night, aka rituals. And this story is insane. So this guy's talking to ghosts constantly, demons. He would have carefully arranged the lights. He had magic mirrors. Possibly he had electricity. We talked about a Kabbalist from the 1600s that had a huge following. He was a Jewish rabbi, I think, because he had a lamp that never went out. And he said it was magic. It was probably an early form of electricity, kind of like the Tartaria theory. Anyway, so he would evoke, aka trick these people to produce apparitions with his disciples under the influence of a strong punch. So he would invite people over. He said, "Drink this magic potion. This will help us talk to the spirits." What's in the magic potion? Something that's intoxicating them, something that's manipulating them or inebriating them. And so he would have you drink the punch, and he took spirit. He told them these are spirits, visitors from other worlds. And did you guys want to guess what happened to Schroepfer? Do you want to guess what happened to him, to somebody who's speaking to demons, to aliens, which are demons? What happened to him? Oh, not much. He just blew his brains out after a few years of doing these insane rituals and trying to talk to demons. So see, this is why I always say that he blew his brains out in his house, in his garden. This is why I always say people like I'm spiritual and stuff like that. And that's great, dude. I'm glad you believe in a higher power, even though it should be the Christian God, but that's whatever. You believe in something greater than yourselves. And you do these things of your whether you know it or not, you're trying to contact someone or a loved one, or you take DMT and you're meeting entities. These are not helpful entities. They are, in my mind, demons that are trying to corrupt you and steal you. And eventually this drove this guy insane, which this guy was a very charismatic, influential person. It's not like he was insane, right? He must have been brilliant to bring these people over. Schroepfer supposedly indoctrinated the famous Comte de Saint-Germain. And now we're getting into very, very insane stuff. So there's this guy, the Comte de Saint-Germain, and we're just going to call him Saint Germain. He is not a saint. He was also known as the master of our modern co-Masonic lodges. So the identity of this person has never been established. Some say he was a bastard child of the King of Portugal. He was possibly a Jewish doctor. But first we see Saint Germain's name in Germany in 1740. And as the powers attracted the attention, he was so quote unquote powerful, his work attracted the attention of the French monarchical court. And so this Marshal de Belle Isle, she brought him back with her to the court of France. And they roomed and boarded him. They paid him. They presented him to the king. He enchanted the court. And also, he invented flat-bottom boats for the invasion of England. And this even raised him higher in the world in France. And again, I know I add stuff that doesn't need to be added. Found it interesting. Again, though, we have an occult person, a magician of sorts, communicating with demons, who eventually ends up killing himself, but also is inventing military technology. Just, I don't know. We see this over and over again, do we not? How many spies, intelligence agencies, groups are doing the same exact thing? Tesla talked to something, he said, and the Vril Society and all these groups. And so just like this guy, he was built a military weapon and was a great magician, supposedly. In 1761, he moves to Holland, but he was 74 supposedly, but he looked 50. He was such a North says Saint Germain and the Violent Flame. I don't know what that means. North, please elaborate though. If it's the same Saint, the Saint Comte de Germain. So suppose he looks so young because he's talking to spirits and they're giving him the Philosopher's Stone. If this is true, he would have been 97 when he died, which isn't impossible, but probably not. And I've never heard of Saint Germain. Maybe you have. Clearly, North has. But if but he was big time, guys. He was big top dog, double OG of the occult world. Some of his followers in the 1800s refused to believe he died. It reminded me of the QAnon movement. They said, no, he's unkillable. He's immortal. He has figured out how to live forever. He's hiding and staying alive in Eastern Europe. Where do we hear that as well? Well, Abdullah ibn Minam of the Manichaeans or the Ismailis, the Muslim Islamic Secret Society, his followers said the same thing. He died. They said, no, he just disappeared. He'll be coming back. He will be coming back. And Saint Germain also helped these theories because, as he told his followers, he had been through different incarnations of himself. And the last one that he's in right now, he was way older than the 97 guys. He was actually over 1,500 years old in just this incarnation of himself. And now who does this sound like? Corey Goode. Corey Goode is a big alien guy. If you guys don't know, he claims he's done this age and back technology with the aliens 10 times. They've moved him from 40 to 7 years old 10 times. The similarities of these charlatans never stops that. But yet nobody cares, nobody knows, nobody believes it. And I told you, I fell for the Trump scam. But we see, if you read history at all, you will see the patterns. And so many people don't. It's so frustrating. So anyway, Saint Germain, he was the Grand Master of Freemasonry. He initiated this guy, Cagliostro, who far surpassed his master, and he was the mysteries of Egyptian masonry. Cagliostro. I just want to see if I can find a picture of Cagliostro. Cagliostro. Oh yeah, we got. Oh boy, let's check out the count. Oh, North, you said that you heard of Saint Germain. Interesting. The rapper Cannabis even referenced him. I wonder if it's the same Saint Germain, because he wasn't. I don't think he was an actual saint. But here is Cagliostro, a Sicilian occultist and traveler. The man's got 8 chins, but he surpassed Saint Germain in his abilities, his followers. Oh, and North says she thinks it is, or you think it is. So very interesting, North, that the rapper of mainstream of Cannabis. I listened when I was a big pothead. I listened to Cannabis or whatever, however he calls his name, but that he mentions Saint Germain. Interesting. Anyway, so Cagliostro, he was mentored by Saint Germain, and his name was Joseph Balsamo. He born in 1743. He was born of a Jewish Sicilian tradesman. His parents died. He got sent to a monastery in which he had escaped, and he had been placed and joined him, and he escaped. And how did he escape? He found a merchant, a man, this is a boy, and asked to follow him around the world. Now, is this different time? Yeah. Is it a little weird? Yeah. Yeah, I would say if a 50-year-old man is taking in a 13-year-old boy to travel the world, I don't know. What does that mean? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. So he travels to Greece with him, Egypt, Poland, Germany, and he finally gets initiated into Freemasonry. And he gets to England, and he declares that he elaborated his famous Egyptian rite, which was found in 1782, and this is Cagliostro. He claims that this new rite was derived from a manuscript, which he had bought by pure chance in London. That's a lie. And that's a lie. Ugh, I don't have a lie. But this more likely Cagliostro derived his Egyptian masonry from the same source that Pasquale had drawn from his order of the Martinises, the perverted Kabbalah. And it's not a hidden secret, the manuscript that he got his right from, but rather it wasn't. Both of these guys, these rites are kind of in Kabbalah, but what they are not telling you is that they are not creating up the rites. The rites are being told to them by the unknown superiors, the invisibles, the people that are actually running these groups. Because again, if they were the real leaders, or if Cagliostro was the real, we wouldn't know his name. So Cagliostro also gets initiated into Rosicrucianism and founds his own Egyptian Masonry offshoot, which again is another branch hoping to hide behind the regular Blue Lodge Freemasonry. So already in France, we have 4 offshoots since the 1700s of different organizations that hid under the cloak of Freemasonry, recruited out of Freemasonry. And the superior category to Saint Germain and Cagliostro was the famous Dr. Mesmer. Now, do you guys know who Dr. Mesmer is? I talked about him in my MK Ultra episode. Oh, you're not interrupting me at all, North. I love your guys' comments. We're all just hanging out talking. Nobody gets annoyed with this. They like to hear your guys' comments too. So please don't ever stop interrupting. But so yeah, so he gets initiated, but so both these guys, they believe the double OG was this guy, Dr. Mesmer. Mesmer is where we get the phrase mesmerized from. What is mesmerized? It's hypnosis. And this guy was huge. George Washington studied Mesmer's work. I think he went to go see him speak. And so Mesmer, he was most famous for, in 1780, he claimed he discovered this thing called animal magnetism. Basically, the thing is, animal magnetism is with certain words, certain phrases, certain actions, you are able to put animals into trances, convulsions, and all these other things. So he believed that you could also do that to humans, basically hypnosis. So his followers, he could get them to fall into trances, he could get them to convulse. So the Freemasons wanted what Mesmer had. I mean, this guy is huge. Like he's breaking ground and stuff that they want. How do they can meditate, meet other beings, whatever. And they get him initiated in 1785. So how do we account for this wave of Kabbalism in Western Europe? Who inspired it? It would happen 400 years previous. What was the thing that started this flying through? And we know it wasn't the guys' names that we all know their names of. It wasn't Weishaupt. It wasn't Cagliostro. It wasn't Pasquale. No, it's unknown superiors that we don't know who they are. Because again, think of all the propaganda that comes in America that these things just take off. Why? What's behind that? And it's the power of people that you don't know. And that's exactly it. He comes up in set 222. Oh, all right. All right, boys and girls. We're ready. Let's go. All right, we're rocking. The Bavarian Illuminati, the moment we've all been waiting for. I hope we set up, we talked about French we talked about all this stuff again, just showing unknown superiors are making the calls. Freemasonry was corrupted by multiple groups and offshoots that hit under this. They all added new rights and things that were weird. Ooh, Skeptic. I like it. Skeptic just said, I'm not a betting man, but I'd lay money down that the unknown superiors are demonic entities. I love it. I love it. And I agree. I think that's a very valid idea or theory. So that maybe a people, and so we're going to get into Skeptic, of a guy who's bigger than all these guys, and with the Bavarian Illuminati, but I would not doubt that there is something there, that demons, Satan, his minions are putting these occult ideas in these people's heads to lead and pass on. So the Bavarian Illuminati. Now, everybody knows the Illuminati, but you are not going to hear the story about the Illuminati like this. And I agree. This sounds more logical to me. I hope you'll see, or I'd love to hear your opinion after this. So Adam Weishaupt, let's pull him up. Why not? We got time. Okay. Adam Weishaupt. Here he is, the dork of the dorks, the dorks of the dorks. Here he is, Adam Weishaupt. Oh, yeah, I would have stolen his lunch money in a second. I would have made him give me his pantaloons, too. All right, so Adam Weishaupt. So he was not the originator of the system he named Illuminism. And we will talk about how men aiming to overthrowing the existing social order and of all accepted religions, these types of people have existed since the earliest of times. The Canaanites, the Manichaeans, the Fatimites, the Karmathites, who we all talked about in episode 1, etc. All of these secret societies from, your sound effects are too quiet or they don't pick up the mic. I got to turn it up. Let's turn it up real quick. Just so all right, I think it's this one. How about now? Can everybody hear them now? I hope so. The NWO Theosophical Religion claims that they are in communication with the Ascended Masters. Another good one. That's a fair point too. Yeah. So Weishaupt was not new. He was not new to trying to overthrow the government. This is nothing new. And the current traditional values people had. His ideas had already been done. Even the anime, the Illuminati, can be traced back to an even further secret society, a Spanish one. So we talked about the first episode about this guy, Abdullah ibn Mayam. And he was this guy who creates a Islamic secret society, which is his organization was the model that Weishaupt borrowed from the Ismailis. That was his secret society group. And the Ismailis, essentially, he said he was the most pure Orthodox imam in the world. And when you got to the end, he said, all religion is a lie, rape, pillage, orgies, carnal desires. That's how you win. But basically, Weishaupt understood you can't drop the huge bomb that religion is fake on someone right away. So adepts must be moved slowly through the stages to help avoid them having hit the door running after you get to some crazy part, because Weishaupt faked it and made himself seem like he was this very pious Christian. Like, you can't do some insane ritual where you're sacrificing a chicken and drinking its blood and then saying, hey, first day, what you did, we're about to do it. You ready? You can't do that stuff. So Weishaupt, I'm going to say a lot of Weishaupt quotes, often said, speaking sometimes in one way and sometimes in another, so that one's real purpose should remain impenetrable to members of the inferior degrees. All right, that sounds like a good person. Now, how did this Eastern philosophy reach this Bavarian professor? And according to many in the conspiracy world, I think I always say this joke, but Mr. Sam Tripoli will always say, it's the Jesuits. And my boy Johnny Cerrucci, who I love, he's big on the Jesuits. Wrong. In my opinion, totally wrong. So the Jesuits, if you didn't know, Weishaupt was raised his father, I think, was a Jesuit, or he was involved with the Jesuits. He worked with Jesuits. He was employed by a Jesuit university. He was raised by Jesuits after he had lots of connections with them. I think his uncle was a priest, Jesuit priest. So according to many, that's how they got Weishaupt. That's how they got him involved. And he was raised by the Jesuits. This fact has been used to say that the Jesuits created the Illuminati. False. And let's go why this isn't true. Weishaupt perpetually hated, despised the Jesuits. He used many of the Jesuit methods of their organization, of their loyalty of their peoples, of how they follow a leader, not the beliefs or their personal beliefs. They were soldiers. And he loved the idea that men from all over the globe can work together going towards the same goal while holding diametrically opposed views. So Weishaupt also probably realized that religious obedience versus an Illuminist obedience. Religious obedience, you listen to the word of God before any figurehead. If the priest tells you it is okay to go murk people out on the street, you would not listen to that because you read the Bible and the word of God. Whereas in the Illuminati, obedience, you must listen to the figurehead no matter what. And who else had this type of setup? The Jesuits. Their type of obedience, because they were a military order, they said the murder, etc., this stuff, it is allowed because we are soldiers who are at war. And so Weishaupt loved that these Jesuits would do anything, even if it went against their religion, because they had one boss, the Pope, or the Black Pope, the Pope. And so the only difference, though, between the Illuminati and the Jesuit obedience, or whatever you want to call it, was that the Jesuits, they were aware that who their leader was, what their actions, what their goal was. Whereas Weishaupt, all these different levels, nobody knew what the goal was. He would tell them the goal, just like how he said, tell them one thing, but not the truth. That's what he did to these people. And so now many say the Jesuits are behind all these secret societies. And it sounds very cool. I can see the possibility. They did. Loyola, he was a sicko, but very little evidence of that. Very, very, very little evidence of that. And I think, and I'm not trying to go at Cerrucci. I love Johnny Cerrucci, but he'll the way he says the Jesuits are behind everything is he'll say, oh, Fauci, Roman Catholic, oh, Jesuit college, Jesuit, Roman Catholic. Is that evidence? Is that evidence because many people, these elite people went to Georgetown because they were taught by Jesuits? That makes them the kings of the secret societies? I find that very, very difficult to believe. Communists made a Mark's grandfather was Illuminati, according to Myron Fagron. Huh. I did not know that. Interesting. Communist May Day, Marx. So Karl Marx's grandfather was supposedly Illuminati. And Skeptic says their Jesuits are known as God's Marines. Exactly. They're soldiers in their minds, or whatever. So very little evidence. The Jesuits, like the Templars and Illuminati, were suppressed in 1773. But the difference between the Templars and the Illuminati, there was no trial when they suppressed the Jesuits. They were never given an opportunity to defend the charges brought against them, or as in other secret societies, their statutes. Their trial never happened. Was it because they didn't want the trial, or is it because they didn't want any more information coming out about the Jesuits at the trial? Think of how many sham trials we've had. So this isn't too hard to believe. Regardless, though, the acquired Illuminati communications are their best exoneration. It makes it laughable that the Illuminati had the same goals as the Jesuits. For example, what motive at all could the Jesuits had to rid the world of thrones and religion? That was the clear goal of the Illuminati, was to remove the monarchy and remove religion. Why would the Jesuits want to do that? The only way the way they rose to their power was using the throne, the monarchies, and religion. So now what? They're just going to stop that? They're going to stop that method that's worked for the past 200 years for them? And let's just say they wanted power, they continued this power. What would the best way to be to remove the people that have been giving you the power 200 years? Regardless, the irreligious republic is the death of the Jesuit power that they had in Europe for hundreds of years. That was their demise. They were too loud. They were doing too many evil things, manipulating students and things like that. So that's an important point to make. These secret societies, the Jesuits, the Illuminati, Freemasons, they are all this at the base, the top of these groups. They're all the same Kabbalistic, Gnostic sickos. Everywhere else, not. And I think that's not like, just like any organization, police, teachers, nurses, 98% of them are amazing. But there's that 2% that are the ones doing the opposite thing. And it's more likely that the Illuminati and Jesuits were actually rivals or enemies of each other. The only group of men who were as learned as Weishaupt, as organized as the Illuminati, that had the power to outwit Weishaupt, who had finances that could compete with him. Do you think that would be his buddy? They have different goals. In suppressing the Jesuits, it's possible that the old regime, the Illuminati, Frederick the Great, the Freemasons, the Rosicrucians, they suppressed the Jesuits because they were the only barrier that was going to stop them from overthrowing the monarchy and overthrowing the church. It would make sure that the revolutions that they're trying to set up to happen in Europe, the Jesuits could be stopped. And I thought that was mind-blowing. And that makes perfect sense to me. Yes, the Jesuits were very odd. Yes, they were corrupt, but they were trying to bring a Catholic world power. They weren't trying to bring an anarchist, atheistic religion world power, at least the 99% or whatever. So where did Weishaupt find his inspiration? This is big. This is these unknown superiors. Skeptic, it's a secret society. Yeah, dude, it's the Bloods versus the Crips. I did this too, but like the CIA, I always thought was all powerful. They could do whatever they want, unstoppable. People are people. People are people are people. And people will compete. They are jealous. They are stupid. They are irrational. So who inspired this? So now we're going to get to this unknown superior. So Weishaupt, all of his letters were found. He meant in 1771, there's this guy, a merchant named Colmer, and he spent many years in Egypt. He returned to Europe in search of converts to a secret doctrine founded on Manichaeism that he learned in the East. Manichaeism, Islamic Secret Society. First episode, check them out if you want to learn more about it. The assassins grew out of that. CIA, Catholics in Action. I like that. Okay. So he stops in France on his way to France. He stops at Malta. He meets Caligostro there and nearly brought about a revolution among the people. Hey, Brian, thanks, dude. I appreciate it. Thanks for listening, dude. Have a great night. I'll see you next week, buddy. Or maybe tomorrow. We'll see. Or Friday, or I don't know. Brian, have a great goddamn weekend. But so he stops in Malta, and he actually gets driven out by the Knights of Malta. And so then he went to Avignon and Lyons, and he's gaining these disciples as he makes his way to France amongst the Illuminatis. The same year he went to Germany after his travels, where he encountered Weishaupt and initiated him into the mysteries of his Colmer's secret doctrines. Weishaupt then spent 5 years thinking out his system, which he named the Illuminati, of course. So on May 1st, 1776, May Day, the Workers' Day, the Communist Workers' Day celebration, that's totally coincidental. Wink, wink. We're going to get into how much Weishaupt was this utopianist loser. But so he founds it that day, and he makes his co-name Spartacus. Why is that funny? Spartacus, I'm pretty sure, he was trying to have a rebellion to overthrow the slave-owning oligarchy. So Weishaupt choosing the name Spartacus is very interesting because Weishaupt wanted he was the Illuminati was behind the French Revolution. They were behind the Bolshevik Revolution and many other revolutions. So it's funny that the leader Colbert was kicked out after trying to start a revolution. Weishaupt's mentor. And so Colbert remains mysterious to this day. This is all we know about him is Colbert. Who was he? He was a high-level Kabbalist and acted as the secret inspirers of the magicians who would appear in the limelight. So he found people like Weishaupt. Yes, thank you, Skell. Spartacus led the slave revolts. And so I just found that funny that Weishaupt, who's going to be behind the French Revolution, picks the nickname Spartacus. And Colbert, that is also a code name, like Spartacus for Weishaupt. Some researchers believe that he was the same mentor that Cagliostro spoke about with so much respect and adoration. Cagliostro referred to him as Altolus, which means universal genius. And this is in fact, a real person. Weishaupt, Cagliostro, both references him. The Inquisition of Rome had collected even more proofs because they heard about this guy Colbert, and they were proving his existence without ever, though, being able to discover when he started and when he ended and how he just vanished. Saint Germain, going back to him, remember he was supposedly year 1500, Corey Good, just keeps living longer and longer again. And we can research him. We can pull him up, just how North mentioned his name. Whereas Colbert, has anyone in the chat heard of Colbert? Kolmer? If you have, please, I would love to and Scott, I am going to have to check out this Myron Fagan. Thank you. Jeremy says, I actually hold the SI degree in the Martinist order. Jeremy, we got to do our show. God damn it, dude. Stop working so much. The chat would love to hear about your experience in the Martinist order. God, come on, Jeremy. Send me your dates you're available, buddy. But to Saint Germain, known, Colbert, never heard. He's one of these invisible peoples again. So supposedly Saint Germain, who's invincible, immortal, we can research him. Whereas the guy who is the mentor of 4 to 5 huge people, we can't find. Now, why would that? Secret Society rule number 1, write it down. The real authors never show themselves. Just like Fight Club, we don't talk about Fight Club. Real authors don't show themselves from these sick groups. Colbert was possibly actually an Ismaili because his ideas were founded on Manichaeism. He also acquired documents / letters, Spartacus, or there's documents that were acquired from Spartacus to a guy named Cato. These are some of the things he said. He's thinking of warming up the old system of the Gerbers and the Parsis. Now, what does that mean? The Gerbers were one of the sects of the Abdullah-Imam where he found his supporters, the guy that the Ismailis or the Fatimites, so Weishaupt referencing these two groups that were members of an earlier secret society from 500 years before him. I find that very odd as well, or interesting. So how does he know that was where Abdullah got his people from? Because again, these groups are continuations, modifications, but same beliefs. So Weishaupt, Mohinder, dude, what up? You came here for the best part. We're on the Illuminati, and we're about to destroy what everyone thinks the Illuminati is about. So let's do one more. Hopefully it's loud enough. That was a lame one. Come on. All right. Bavarian Illuminati truths. Okay, so for you guys, Illuminati, I use the phrase interchangeably with Freemasonry and all these secret societies. I think they're this devil worshiping occult Gnostic group. Wrong, 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 wrong on all accounts. This is going to blow your mind, guys. Just how we talked about the Templars were evil and Gnostic, the Illuminati is evil, but different. So Weishaupt hated occultism. He hated spiritualism. He hated magic. He had contempt for them. No degree of the Rosy Croix finds a place in Weishaupt's system, as opposed to all of the other Masonic offshoots that we just talked about that the Rosicrucians were behind. The Illuminati was not. And as you research him more and more, you find out the formula he employs with the magic and the occult, whether Egyptian or Persian or Christian. All of Weishaupt's references to the occult rituals, rites, were a disguise to destroy the existing order of society, to get more people in his group. And thus the existing ancient anything in the Illuminati is the spirit of the destruction of organization of groups. That's the Illuminati. It's not about the occult worship like all of these other groups are. They're not doing these crazy rituals. They're not, maybe they're not sacrificing. That's not what Weishaupt was about. Then he used that. He talked about it to recruit, but in his personal letters that you guys could all read and pull up, he has contempt. He mocks them. He says they're childish. Sorry, I know I keep saying I gotta stop saying that. I say it in my job too, and I hate that. I gotta stop doing that. Instead, when I don't know what I'm saying next, I have to breathe. Was too blinded by the Pepes at the PPs at the time. Okay, so Weishaupt, though, he was a narcissist. In his letters to his followers, he constantly told them how arduous and how hard he worked at creating the Illuminati. And it was only because of his genius that the Illuminati ever came about. Like, really, he said he is a one-of-a-kind genius. But if he was really such a one-of-a-kind genius, do you think he would have done other genius-like things besides just create Pepes, not PPs? Got it. I got it. You think he would maybe be known for at least the other guy we talked about, not Pasquale, but the other one, created the flat boat for military. Weishaupt didn't do it. He was a tenured professor, not a genius. But anyway, let's continue hearing about the Jesus's plan. Skeptic, just wait. Skeptic's got the perfect question. It's like he knows what I'm going to talk about next. He says, I wonder if Weishaupt tried to join the Freemasons and they rejected him, so he formed his own club. Oh boy, do I got the answer for you, skeptic. Okay, so oh my God, it's literally the next note I have. Many, skeptic included, say the Illuminati grew out of Freemasonry. They say this because Weishaupt got initiated into Freemasonry in 1777, the year after he started the Illuminati, which was May 1st, 1776. So you could see with that, you would say, okay, so he became, so you can see that this is impossible that Freemasonry started the Illuminati, because Weishaupt thought about it for 5 years, started it, and then joined Freemasonry. So why did he do that? He would always write to all of his top bosses, Cato and these other codename people. Weishaupt would say, please try and get more info from and knowledge from Freemasonry, which is weird because I thought he was the genius that knew everything. You're so nice, North. I don't stay focused. You see how many times we stop and talk? I'm sure that I want to know if people listening on home are like, Jesus, can you stop talking to the people in the chat? But yeah, so he joined Freemasonry after the Illuminati. He was initiated at the Lodge Theodore in Munich, and a famous Freemason, Mirabeau, whose name pops up constantly in all these stories. He wrote how that lodge was pushed around by Freemasonry. It was a weak lodge, not a lot of power there. This Lodge Theodore, the one that admitted Weishaupt. So now why would Weishaupt, the genius, join the weakest bullied Freemasonic lodge? I'm sure you have a few ideas why, but I'm going to tell you the answer anyway. So the reason why he picked this one is because he knew it was a bullied club, a weak club. He knew that if he joined, he could manipulate the lodge, and steal the good guys in the group for his team. And this lodge talked about how they wanted to abolish slavery of the peasants, the servitude of men to a soil, to an equitable, equivalent populace, religious toleration of, or a universal toleration of religious opinions, aka one world religion, and to favor the liberty of the press. That's what this Theodore Lodge started talking about after Weishaupt joined. Okay, that sounds good, right? That sounds good. Freedom of men, equitable, equivalent populace. Sounded a little wokey-tokey for me, but okay, let's continue. Mirabeau who wrote a lot of information. He wrote like diaries or a book. That's why we get a lot of information from him. He did not become an Illuminati member until 1786 under the name Leonidas. Mirabeau was how Weishaupt got into the Lodge Theodore, and he helped make the proper introductions. So no, the Illuminati did not get birth out of Freemasonry, but it did take birth amongst a group of Freemasons whose aims were not those of the order in general. So we understand this, right? So it is impossible that Illuminati or the Freemasonry created the Illuminati. It is the alternative, or the reverse. Not really the reverse. You get it. So you sound like, Jeremy was listening fast. So you're fat, you double speed. Oh my God. I bet now I'm talking so slow. You're right. I'll try to go a little quicker. We're almost done though. I think we got a lot, but 4 or 5 pages, but we'll be good here. So Mirabeau, so the Illuminati did not get birthed out of Freemasonry. That is false. So what are their aims? What's the Illuminati aims? What's their goal? If they're not into the occults, they're not into rituals, what do they want? Their goals were a plan for social and political reform. So, the French Revolution is happening right, 10 years after the Illuminati started. I'm sure they didn't care about that at all and had zero part of that, right? They said, we don't want a part of that. No, overthrowing a monarchy? Psh, no. Strangely, during the Illuminati Freemasonic French Revolution, some odd things happened that didn't go really with the liberty for the French people motto of the revolution. Like, for example, in 1791, they banned trade unions. Now, is a trade union for the regular folk of France or against the Fabian socialists much? Yes, skeptic. Yes. They banned trade unions. They got rid of excise duties. They got rid of the unfettered liberty of the press and religious opinions. Now, they got unfettered liberty of the press and religion. So this sounds good for people, right? Free press, got rid of taxes, liberty of religion. But and this sounds wonderful. And just like libertarians or anarchists, when you remove powers of the government, of the state, and you create a power vacuum, who fills that vacuum? And that's my biggest issue with anarcho-capitalists, like, you state is pig, or you state is stupid. You think they're going to do something? No, I don't think the government is good. But you do realize that if tomorrow the American government shut down, these billionaires, trillionaires would take over. How would you stop that? You wouldn't be able to. And I despise governments. I think they're horrible. But to not have one, Have you been outside anarcho-capitalist? Have you gone to the grocery store and seen the carts that no one puts away? Have you seen people do ridiculous things that aren't really illegal, but they're just not nice? And you want a world filled with that even more? Oh, and I know that's a very weak. Mohinder says, doesn't matter what age, unions are filled with CUNTS. Hilarious. This is true. But they got rid of them. The Bolshevik like French Revolution people, power to the people, got rid of trade unions. Huh? That's pretty weird. So revolutions tend to. Oh, sorry. Okay. So was the French Revolution really about bringing power to the people, or maybe was it the ulterior motive from the Illuminati and Frederick the Great, who were trying to see his rival neighbor country go in decline so he could increase Prussia, and he wasn't going to get that, but the Illuminati and the Freemasons weren't going to tell him that. Revolutions tend to be a great way to change power structures, and rarely benefit the people. And though I think you could maybe make the claim that the revolution in America was benefiting the people, I don't know. I don't know if you can make. I think you could make that argument both ways. But revolutions rarely benefit the people. So Freddie the jackass, Freddie the Great, Freddie the lame-o, he wanted to break the Franco-Austrian alliance by circulating libels against Marie Antoinette. Well, it's free press, right? Free press. He has enough money to buy the press. He's connected with all the powerful people. So he starts sending lies and pushing them in France about how evil the monarchy is. He also wanted to remove all obstacles to the spread of anti-Christian propaganda, because then if you wrote things bad about Christianity, obviously you're gonna get in some trouble from a Catholic France. Well, Freddie the Great, Adam Weishaupt, they wanted that gone. Because again, the goal isn't to, the goal is to pull people away from Christ, because if you stand for nothing, you fall for anything. So it is totally not impossible that Weishaupt was the first agent of more experienced conspirators whose purely political aims were disguised under a plan of social reform. And so who picked him? Whoever said, skeptic, you should make that a shirt. The funny thing about revolutions is that you end up back where you started. That is worthy of this. But so who would pick this Bavarian professor to be the leader of your huge socially changing revolutionary organizing group? Why would you pick him? Or who would pick him? How did he get these people? Well, they probably saw him as a great vehicle to employ these ideas. And anyway, Weishaupt assumes control of the social reform. Things end up disappearing from the Illuminati's writing. So basically, Weishaupt, glad you can hear the sound effects, nerd. But so Weishaupt, he wouldn't tell his beginners that was his goal, creating a governmentless and anarchist society. He never said that, but that he would wrote in his pride to his inner circle but that's what he wanted. So this is also something that I would, if you are an anarcho-capitalist or an anarchist, I would bring this point up to you. I would say Adam Weishaupt, the leader of the Illuminati, also wanted that. So why would you think that this man is? He's an evil man. He caused the deaths of thousands during the French Revolution, on and on and on. I'll read some more quotes that he said. He's an evil guy, but you guys share the same opinion. Why? Well, how do you reconcile these two? I don't know, just something. I'm not a debater of I don't know. I call myself a monarchist. I don't know if I that's just my opinion, but I don't feel real strongly one way or the other. But I just found that interesting. So what did Weishaupt wanted? Oh, let's go over it. He wanted no private property. He wanted no social authority, which means that everyone's equal, that we should have the weak leading the weak can lead the strong just as well as the strong can lead the weak. All right, so he's getting pretty close to communism here and Bolsheviks. Continue. He wanted no nationalism. No nationalism. I think I just saw an article today. Globalism is an anti-Semitic trope. He wanted no national return of humans to a community family. Every male is a father to all the children in the neighborhood. So what does Weishaupt believed? He is a BLM. He could be leading BLM if he was black today. That is what they want. He could be leading the Communist Group of America. He could be leading all these woke weenies. What does he want that we don't hear today? Weishaupt had no God but nature. He was a nature worshiper. Many Freemasons have written him as a humanitarian, trying to help humanity. Again, what do we see from the wokies? Oh, no, we're trying to help everyone. Yeah, you say that, but you're not. You're actually going to destroy everyone by doing what you think is right. He was the progressive of his time. He was the AOC. And why, again, what people that would defend this, they would say, oh, no, the mean Jesuits wrote mean things about Weishaupt because they hated him. It's a Jesuit lie. Is it a Jesuit lie? Is it? Okay. I'm not going to read that comment, Skell, but it made me laugh. So definitely not reading it. It's hilarious, though, for people listening. If he was alive today, he'd be wearing Birkenstocks with a crystal in his pocket, Skeptic. Yes. He would also probably be instead of going by Adam Weishaupt, he would change his name to what's the name? Ashley Weishaupt, and men can get pregnant. I'm sure that's what Weishaupt would believe today. The correspondence papers of the order were seized by the Bavarian government at the house of two members. They are genuine. Weishaupt never denied the authenticity of these papers, but actually he tried to explain away, like when he wrote things like private property should be abolished. He would write, try to justify that. And they were so, okay. Illuminism and Freemasonry. This is our last chapter here. And this is where we're going to wrap it up. So from the moment Weishaupt was admitted into Freemasonry, his conduct was a violation of the Masonic Code. Instead of working the program, he tried to use back doors and underhanded methods to move up the stages and in the rights and the degrees and turn them into his advantage. So he writes to Cato, I have succeeded in obtaining a profound glimpse into the secret of the Freemasons. I know their whole aim. I shall impart it at the I shall impart it all at the right time in one of the higher degrees. Cato then gets deputized to make further discoveries because he's buddies with an Italian Freemason. And Spartacus asks Cato, can you please find out what he knows? And Cato gets the info. Spartacus says, I'm not impressed. Whether you know the aim of Masonry, I doubt he knows anything. I myself have included an insight into the structure in my plan, but I will reserve it for later. Weishaupt also later writes how all initiates should do the first 3 degrees of Freemasonry, and that they will have a Masonic lodge of the Illuminati's own, and they were calling it the Nursery Garden. Find the Masons they want and reveal to them what the Illuminati can offer. Again, these are all in his letters. Another quote, at every opportunity, we shall cover ourselves. This is huge. This proves, again, that Illuminati is not Masonry, that Masonry has been corrupted. At every opportunity, we shall cover ourselves with this Masonry. All those who are not suited to the work shall remain in the Masonic Lodge in advance, and that without knowing anything of the further system, we shall find this plan of an inner secret circle concealed within Freemasonry. Wow. That's powerful. That is powerful, right? It's in his letters. He's saying that they will use Freemasonry as the cover to create an inner circle of an inner circle. Weishaupt, like us, also kept asking Cato to use his source to find the true history of Freemasonry because he had only heard theories. Now, Adam, we don't see eye to eye on anything. You and me both want to know the true history of Freemasonry. I think this book does the best job I've heard so far, but still would love the truth, the exact truth. Weishaupt also brings up about enlisting Grand Lodge members, which means Illuminati now had a lodge in the palm of their hand. So he wants the top dog at lodges to get introduced in the Illuminati. He can control the lodge again. I mean, brilliant. And he also his letters also show him not only as a manipulator, but as a total charlatan. He starts making up rights and degrees that to increase his credibility among his followers. Like, oh, they're not telling you the real degree of this one. Come with me, just total bullshit. And the hilariously pitiful degrees Weishaupt was trying to sneak into Freemasonry, no one would accept them. They never worked. Everyone thought they were lame. So he just added them in his program. And even though he despised Freemasonry, Rosicrucian, all the magic things, he would tell these people he's trying to recruit, this is the real secret stuff. This is the real magic stuff. North, I won't read that comment as well, but that there is some truth to that, right? Some truth. Okay. So he's trying to affirm and solidify Illuminism as the top dog. Albert Mackey, an evil son of a bitch. Well, not evil, but a Freemason, a big author. He writes about Weishaupt. Here's a quote. He was a radical in politics, an infidel in religion, and organized his association not for the purpose of aggrandizing himself, rather than of overturning Christianity and the institutions of society. Our institutions have been destroyed, corrupted, manipulated, broken down. So if you ask me right now, who's been behind all of the shit that America and the world has seen, it sounds like the Illuminati, does it not? And I know there's that joke like, oh, everyone in the world, even normies, know who the Illuminati are. But so they are a revolutionary group. That's what they are. They have magic for the lower degrees, but Weishaupt, that's not his goal. His goal is to make, quote unquote, everyone equal, except for him, I'm sure. Remove religion, remove the monarchies, and total anarchy. Secret societies hate him. Find out why. Illuminati recruitment ad. Absolutely. So the idealism of Weishaupt, and his correspondence with Voltaire and Frederick the Great all profess respect for Christianity in their letters to each other. Oh, we're a big Christian. But meanwhile, they're trying to destroy it. And so basically, Weishaupt, he literally wanted to bring society back to a tribal, nomadic-like lifestyle. And the reason for this is if you break down society, you remove critical thinking, you remove all this stuff, one, you can control the populace because they're just going to act on carnal desires. And two, you can get people to do such evil stuff. And because Weishaupt was not the leader, Colmer was the idea man who was a hardcore Kabbalist. He realizes, and he probably didn't tell Weishaupt, probably didn't know this, that once you remove Christianity and these Abrahamic morale religions, it's going to bring us back to these pagan, child sacrificing, Canaanite religious people. And that was the goal. So it's just, also I talked about Weishaupt. Hey, here's a Weishaupt quote. Savages are the only free men. Well, how does that make them free? Oh, because they do whatever feels good. Weishaupt also hated patriotism, nationalism. He says nationalism took the place of human love. Isn't that pathetic? Oh, if you're nationalistic, you can't love people. You just love your country, man. Weishaupt was protected by the Duke of Saxe-Gotha, which changed the name to Windsor. I think I've seen that before too, and he was clearly protected by Frederick the Great as well. So I don't know if you were here when I said this, Scott. Though there were monarchs like Frederick the Great, and I'm sure many others, that they were approached by these secret societies to say, we can help you get rid of your enemy if you do what we say, them not realizing they're being played and tricked. I love the Stars and Stripes. That was actually a very good. North says, I love the Stars and Stripes. Hate my mom, though. Hilarious, dude. So the last thing, but I just want to get two other quotes. So Weishaupt also didn't like ugly people. He wanted good-looking people. He realized that was how you could recruit more people. to always shroud yourself in darkness and secrecy. Here. And so Weishaupt, he brags about how he was able to help get the Jesuit professors suppressed and kicked out of Europe. So now why would that, we cheer for that. We say, yay, they're out of here. Their manipulation is gone. But why is Weishaupt championing, happy, thrilled that this happens? Well, this quote will probably give you a good reason why. All the professors are members of the Illuminati. So all the pupils be disciples of Illuminism. The German schools are quite under the influence, and now only members have charge of them. And religion and Freemasonry were not the only ways he planned to spread for concealment of his strength and of his group. He wanted to corrupt learned societies or something of that kind. And I can't think of an example from them, but I would say things like the American Historical Association, the American Medical Association, these type of groups that have power to change, manipulate, propagandize the public. Last thing, many will claim the Illuminati had no power. They were not behind the French Revolution. They were banned in 1786. This is a piss poor defense. I talked about this in my Jesuit show from a long time ago. They have done this many times where they will shut something down to say, see, all done. We don't have to worry about it, guys. It's like a fake, it's a false flag. It's a false flag. I don't know. I can't think of a really good example. Osama bin Laden. Oh, we got him. No more planes are no more terrorist attacks. Things like that. You understand the concept. But that's what many groups say to defend the Illuminati, that they weren't behind the revolution because they got canceled. Oh, just like the Templars got canceled. But wait, they still existed. How does that happen then, right? Just hilarious. And Truth and Doubt, I don't think I've ever seen you here, so welcome and thank you. Ever heard of the Jing Zhao documents? I have not. Please hit me on Twitter, dude, and send it to me. 13 is Death and Rebirth. That's the death card in Tarot. Interesting. And so last thing, this is it. Also big fun things in the Illuminati that they like to play with. They like to make homemade abortion potions. So they're communist. They like homemade abortions. Soviet Union is one of the first places that legalized abortions. They also would make aphrodisiacs and other things to help do their huge orgies. Probably. And Illuminism, it is not a Jewish conspiracy. None of these groups are a Jewish conspiracy. To destroy Christianity, but rather a movement of this dynamic ancient force that has been around since ancient times to revolt against the existing social moral orders, to bring about this golden age that they want to get back to, this Atlantis golden age where we were essentially monkeys, sex with anybody, blah, 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 blah. And that's it. And Weishaupt's, this is my last quote we're going to end on. One must show how easy it would be for one clever head to direct the hundreds of men, hundreds of thousands. No, that's not it. Wait, let me just get this quote because it's so good. Men, how easy it is to be tricked, or how easy it is to make you believe whatever. It's something like that, and I'm butchering it, but yeah, I can't. But you understand the concept. He's just saying that men are so stupid that he can get them to believe. Oh man, Truth and Doubt. I'm sorry. Did you change your photo then? I must have not seen your. I'm so sorry, dude. Maybe you changed your profile photo. But so guys, to recap, all these secret societies from the ancient times to now, magic, upheaval, revolution, changing the social, removing Christianity, removing morality, and talking to demons, making us androgynous beings that are gods. That's the goal. Just like so each of these secret societies, they use Freemasonry as the umbrella, the Templars, the Rosicrucians, the Illuminati, all hid under this Freemasonic umbrella to do their little things. And what's important is, just how we said the Illuminati they were more of a political organization. The other ones were too, the Templars, and they were banking and stuff like that. But so you can see that it's not as simple as Freemasonry is bad. It's not as simple as this religion is bad. It is widespread. There is an ancient religion, an ancient Gnostic belief set that has been trying to change the world since it started. And we are closer now than ever before to this one world government, this one world empire, this one world religion. And we can thank all of these secret societies for that. Mao was trained by Yale in China. I did see that. Yes, I saw, and other Yale, Skull and Bones was very involved in the China thing. But so that's the show, guys. I hope you learned something about the Illuminati. My favorite things were how the Templars were actually evil, how the Illuminati is no occult, Weishaupt had no occult interest at all, just pure revolutions and communism. And that's the other thing we see. All these secret societies wanted to share their wives, their food, their women, their children, and sacrifice and just live out carnal desires. So how do we fight back? Do what's hard. Make the tough choice. And that's it. Thank you, North. We had a good squad tonight, about 20 some people. Truth, I apologize again, dude. I'm very sorry. I'm embarrassed. But if you guys go follow me at Kojak Podcast, Liv works tomorrow now. I was going to do a show. So maybe I'll do a show Friday. If you guys are down, or if you people would want to do one. I got a few. I wanted to talk to Odd Man about the Illuminati again. So we'll see if he's busy. And if you want to support the show, please do. I get Venmo, Patreon, last. Chris Graves, who's been on the show. If you guys can, don't even support me. Send him, if you can send him $5. I put his PayPal and his Patreon. I'll put it in the show notes too. He's an amazing guy. We all deserve, life's tough, right, guys? Life is tough. So I love you guys. Thank you for listening. I'm Jack Allen. We'll talk soon, everybody. And Truth, send me if you are on Twitter, send me those documents. I'm going to forget the moment I hit close. All right, guys, take care. Love you. Peace.